Race family, what's good, guys? It's been a crazy 24 hours. Not what I was expecting at all. I didn't record a lot on the dyno, but I'll walk you guys through that briefly. We get the car on the dyno, and I'll show you guys some clips from that as well. We get the car on the dyno, and immediately the first thing we noticed before even making a pull is that there was crazy vibration. As soon as we get the car up to like 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, when I say vibration, the hatch was like shaking uncontrollably. The shake was so bad, the windshield wipers are coming on. My tuner Lance, at the time, right, he thought it was the dry shaft wasn't installed correctly, something wrong with the dry shaft, the phasing of the dry shaft. So we take all 8 or so straps off the car, get it off the dyno, put it on a lift, put it up in the air, make some adjustments to the dry shaft, hopefully for the better, put the car back on the dyno. All the shakiness continues. I then think that maybe the tires had a flat spot because the car has sat for about a year. So I said the tires are toast. I have tires to go racing anyways with, but I was using those for the dyno. So the shaking continued. Shortly after that, the car would turn on, no problem. Once you would go to put it into gear, say drive or reverse, the car would chirp the tires. It'll go, and then just stall. I did that a good like 15 times or so. We would start the car, put it in gear, it'll spin the tire, turn off. The converter wasn't in lockup. Nothing had changed in the tune, and the car just kept doing that over and over again. It was crazy. So we couldn't figure it out. I'll introduce you to my boy in a little bit. He's coming up later in the story. But this is my good friend Shane. He lives over in South Carolina, and he drove through the night to come help out. He knew we would need some last-minute miracles to get this car to Texas. He lives in South Carolina. He's always been with me. If you guys have ever seen my car racing on that racing channel, anytime I've ever been to any drag race event, anything, he's always been there. He's always helped me pull logs, verify things in the car, making adjustments at the track, all for the better. So I told him about Texas 2K about a month ago. He took some time off of work to make sure he can make it up with me. He also, about 2 weeks ago, told me that he requested an additional day off, which was today, right? Yesterday and today, so that in case I needed any help getting the car ready. And I'm thinking, the day before Texas, why the hell would I need help then? The car's already, I'll probably need help washing it, I told him, and then we're on a trailer and we're leaving. And thank God he did that. Yesterday when I talked to him and told him all the struggles we were having on the dyno, he immediately said, you know what, I'm driving to you. He drove from South Carolina to South Florida, got to my house this morning at 6 in the morning. So, man, that means a lot to me. I have a great group of guys all involved in the car. Everyone wants to see the car succeed. So you guys all know who you are. I'm gonna keep recognizing you guys as we go along, but it means the world to me. So anyhow, we're on the dyno. We had the bad tire shake. Then now the cars would trip the tire every time. I don't know if I documented any of that, if I recorded any of that, but if I did, I'll put it up as well. So basically, it was idling. We'll put it in drive, and it'll turn off. It did that like 15 times, I said. Then all of a sudden it stopped doing it. It stopped doing it. We proceeded to tuning the car. The car, I think on the first pull on spring pressure, leading off early, made like 700 horsepower. Then made some small adjustments, made like 750. Turned the boost up a little bit, was making like 850. We went out to make 950. At 950, we started blowing what appeared to be like blowing the spark. So we checked the plugs. I was told the spark plugs that I had, even though they're the same ones that I've always ran, the tuner was saying that there's bad batches of NGK plugs out there. I guess some that are made in, I think he was saying China, or either China, or he was saying they're Japanese plugs. They were knockoff Japanese plugs. So we scrapped those. We went to a race shop over by the dyno, got new plugs, put them in. It did make the car run a lot better. We turned the power up some more. Car made 1,050. So keep in mind, the car had made 1,150 last time we were on the dyno about a year and a half ago. So car made 1,050, and it was blowing the spark again, something a little weird. We made some adjustments. We tried to give it another pass right mid-pull, and I know I recorded that for sure. I didn't record my expression, but I was like, oh crap. So mid-pull, imagine this, the car's pulling full force. Mid-pull, it just like lets loose and goes straight to red line. I was like... We knew it was something transmission related. We gave the car some time to cool down. We tried it once again, same thing. Middle of the pool, right as the power comes to go in, right as the power is all in, it will spin straight to red line again. Right away we knew it was transmission related. I called Jason over at ATF. He had us check the training oil, check a few things with the transmission. Everything seemed fine. The oils were fine. Nothing, it didn't smell burnt. It was still cherry red. Everything was good, but it did that twice. So immediately we stopped the dyno session. We knew something was up with the transmission. I'm blessed to not live too far from ATF speed, so we decided to take the transmission off, take it over to Jason this morning, have him review the training and converter. Last night when I get home, so I decided to drive the car home. I didn't have the trailer there, so I'm driving the Supra home. You guys will see that. I get stranded on the side of the road. The training just started slipping. I was stranded. Then like about a mile from my house, my brother-in-law shows up, pulls me home with a rope. I recorded all of that. I'm over here stranded on the side of the road. I ran into some transmission problems, but you know what? Nothing that can't be fixed. Here comes family now. My brother-in-law. We're gonna get this bad boy home. I'll fill you guys more in a little bit, but we ran into some training problems on the dyno. We're gonna run it to ATF first thing tomorrow morning. We don't have a lot of time, but we'll get it right. We'll see what the hell went wrong. Could be the converter, could be the transmission, but we'll get it fixed. And back on the dyno on Thursday and off to Texas Thursday. I'll see you guys soon. Come on, baby!
Ready to the rescue!
We'll get this motherfucker home. It happens. On my way home, I'm talking to a buddy on the phone. I don't remember if I recorded that or not, but I'm talking to a buddy. His name is Gabriel. He's helping me a bunch with the car. He was calling for dyno updates. I'm telling him what happened. Right away, he's like, you know what? I'm on my way to your house. He had gone into work at 5 in the morning, shows up at my house at like freaking, I forget, 9 or 10. We started working on the car at like 11:30. We finished by like 1:30 or so. As we take the transmission down, we quickly realized that the torque converter was coming out with ease. All the bolts were fairly loose. We take the transmission out, take the torque converter out. When we get to the flex plate, all the flex plate bolts came out with their fingers completely loose. So at that point, we're like, what the hell? The freaking torque converter would not come out of the transmission. It was stuck in there for good. So we're all confused. This car has never done that. So we went to ATF speed this morning. 4 of us, there's 4 adults prying the freaking torque converter back out of the transmission with a 4-foot, like a 3-foot, 2.5, 3-foot pry bar. All of us for an hour battling with it till we finally pried it out.
You got a big one or no? Oh my god.
This is the trick right here. I don't run too high, right? Right miles are level, I know.
Back out a little bit. There. Alright. Put more. Carry the baton.
Get under the backwards like this. Get right under the open. There you go. There, like that. Look at it.
Long story short, guys, I was using a brand new ATF flywheel, all new hardware from ATF. All that stuff was perfect. Listen to what happened. And honestly, I'll take the blame for it. My family just showed up to the house. I'll take the blame for it. Had my mechanic skills been up to par, or had I known more, I'm no mechanic, and I say that in all my videos. I don't pride myself in knowing it all or being a great mechanic, but here's where I went wrong. So the hardware is perfect. He has sold that hardware to everyone across the country. It works flawlessly. It's awesome. The flywheel is badass. So it wasn't the flywheel, wasn't the hardware. Now, that hardware does not work for the exact, how can I say this? For the exact torque converter that I had. I've had the same torque converter for about 6 years. So here's my advice to you guys. Here's where I went wrong. I used that hardware right as I put, so let me see. When I go to put the transmission in the car, right? I put the torque converter inside of the transmission, rise it up, line it up to the engine, and I start putting some of the bolts around the transmission. I tighten up 2 of them. The second I tighten up 2 of them, and we try to then move the converter to get to the converter's stuck, right? So by now, obviously the flex plate is already torqued down to the engine with the hardware that I got, the new flywheel, everything's torqued down. What? The plane's coming now. Hope you guys can hear me. It's crazy windy. So the flywheel's done. We put the transmission, we made that up to the motor. When we go to tighten up I tighten up 2 of the screws on the transmission. When I go to adjust the torque converter, it's stuck. Right there and then I should have stopped. I should have known something was wrong, or maybe just tried adjusting it again, tried it again. It would have never worked. But anyhow, what I did was I loosened up the transmission, I tightened up the torque converter, torqued the torque converter, then put the tighten the transmission into place. You should always mate them together, torque the torque converter, right, to the flywheel, then, no, I said that shit wrong again. You guys don't listen to me. I've had a crazy long night, long couple of days, you guys know that. All right, so I'm gonna say it one more time. You put the torque converter inside of the transmission, you bring that to the engine, you bolt up the transmission fully, and the torque converter should always remain loose. There's a certain amount of play that should be allowed, so it should still be loose where you can adjust it and torque down the torque converter once the transmission is fully tightened up. So that would have never worked for my scenario because the torque converter was, I guess, a different size. It didn't work with the hardware that I had. So long story short, I jammed all that shit together, and the second we started applying some power to it, it tore itself apart. To give you guys an idea of the carnage, the torque converter we threw in the garbage. Torque converter went to shit, and that's the same one that I've used for like 5 or 6 years. I put that thing through hell. Quarter mile racing, half mile racing, street. It's never given me an issue. It went to crap. So that got thrown in the garbage. The clutches got destroyed. On my drive home, it was piss and oil. So all the training fluid came out. I ran it with no training fluid. The clutches got destroyed. The valve body, with all that metal shavings that were in there, the valve body, we tried and tried and tried hours of trying to clean it up and get it to work. It would not cooperate. Garbage. So, long story short, at least I'm back in town. I'm not far from ATF. It was a mistake on my part. We were able to fix it all. The whole transmission got refurbished. Everything is new again. Got a brand new flywheel again from ATF. Got a brand new torque converter. So I'm sitting here back at home now. We're working on it. I have the transmission's refreshed, is ready to go, and I still have a backup transmission in case we run into any troubles over at Texas. What else? So pretty much I have everything ready to go now. My buddy Shane, like I mentioned earlier, he's here with me now. We're gonna trash on the car overnight, get it back and ready to go. We're gonna go back on the dyno first thing tomorrow. I can't go, I'll be working, but the car's gonna be back on the dyno tomorrow at 10 just to verify that everything is good. We're gonna turn it up some more, hope it makes good power. If everything is fine, throw it on the trailer and head to Texas. What we're doing right now is we're verifying for crank walk. With all that vibration that we had, we wanna make sure the engine is good, nothing happened to the engine. If that all checks out, we're gonna strap the transmission on, tie up some last minute things, and head to the dyno tomorrow. So this is a long explanation, but I wanna be as honest as possible with you guys. Everything is not always beautiful. We all run into troubles. This is something that could have very easily been avoided, but I didn't see that. I did not realize the clues, and I put myself in this situation. It costs extra money to get it right, but we still have the time and we have the energy. I have huge support from the family, huge support from all my friends and all the shops that are involved helping me with the car. So we're gonna get it back together tonight, God willing, right? Take it to the dyno tomorrow. If everything checks out, load it on the trailer and get to Texas. Like I've said before, I never really care for the big dyno numbers. I would like to see more than 1150, which is what the car has made before, but anything over that, we're gonna leave it the hell alone, get to the track, and once we're at the track, turn it up to whatever required to get to our goals. Our goal is to run a 7 this weekend. If we can do that with the factory Toyota transmission, differential, it'll be a huge statement. Not to mention my car's on a 17-inch radial, so let's see what happens, guys. But that fills you guys in. I'm gonna show you guys the dyno footage that I have. I'm gonna show you guys some footage today from ATF. I think with time I'll get better at recording key moments, but for now, I feel bad sometimes just pulling the camera out and shoving it in people's faces or recording every single conversation, but I'll get better with time. But for the time being, guys, there's a lot of cars I'm seeing online already heading to Texas today as it is, and we're over here fighting with the transmission, dynoing the car tomorrow, but we're doing what we can. We're gonna give it all we got, and it's all gonna work out for the good. So I'm still super positive. I'm blessed to have all these guys helping me with the car. So let's get to it, guys. That's a quick explanation. Time to get to work. Keep you guys posted.